An anti-guerrilla raid in Vietnam. There is danger here, danger and discomfort, and sometimes death. There are also Americans here, not to fight, but to observe. A soldier is trained to command, but there are times and places where all he can do is advise. Such a place is the Republic of Vietnam, where the American military advisor is expected to observe, draw conclusions, and give counsel. He may also teach and be a useful friend. What he teaches is the soldier's art. He brings with him years of training in the armed forces of the United States, and because he has been specially selected for his work, a personal aptitude for diplomacy. He also brings courage. For those attempting to destroy this young republic in Southeast Asia are well aware of the role played by such advisors in frustrating the attempt at subversion. The American advisor in Vietnam has no immunity from terrorist bullets. Such are the conditions under which he works. This is the story of what he does. This is United States Army Captain William R. Johnston. A native of Michigan with a wife and 2 children in Chicago, he is seen here within a few days of his arrival in Vietnam. For the next 12 months, he will be official U.S. advisor to the 1st Battalion, 11th Regiment, 7th Infantry Division of the Army of Vietnam. In particular, he will work with Vietnamese Captain Tran Chen Cang. His success or failure will depend in large part on the kind of personal relationships he is able to establish. The job will be a little easier because, as part of our military assistance program, Captain Cang has already received training in infantry and artillery tactics in the United States. At the moment, he knows more about the traditions and customs of Captain Johnston's people than the captain knows of his. The success of any military advisor depends on his ability to grasp the historical background, the customs and conventions of the people he is sent to advise. Unless he develops for them a thorough and sympathetic knowledge, his technical military skills will prove useless. Before he can function efficiently, the advisor must gain a thorough knowledge of the human material he has to work with, the men he will try to help make into still better soldiers. When Captain Johnston joins his battalion, it is stationed at a sugar mill located in the Mekong Delta, a region notorious as a center of guerrilla terrorism. The mill is the chief source of sugar, rum, and molasses for the whole Republic of Vietnam. The 1st Battalion is here to provide security for the mill and to prevent Viet Cong, communist guerrillas, from extorting a tax on farmers trying to bring in sugarcane. It is the nature of war in Vietnam that the ordinary affairs of business and commerce must often be conducted in an atmosphere of an armed camp. Advisor Johnston begins by learning, both from Captain Cong and Sergeant Dak, a former schoolteacher who serves as interpreter. One of the first things Johnston learns is the difficulty of identifying the enemy. In an area largely controlled by the Viet Cong, it is estimated that fully 1/3 of the mill's employees are themselves part-time guerrillas, operating at night to terrorize the surrounding countryside. Some things an advisor can do immediately. An artillery emplacement is an artillery emplacement. A well-trained officer can offer a number of suggestions for increasing the effectiveness of the battalion's howitzers. He can also suggest that troops in garrison need not settle for shelters improvised from ponchos when their own labor could supply semi-permanent barracks. But for the larger problems, those which typify the undeclared war being waged against the whole of South Vietnam, there are no quick solutions. How, for instance, do you defend endless miles of exposed road between the sugar mill and its major market, the capital city of Saigon? Any morning, word may arrive that in the darkness of night, guerrilla bands have sabotaged the road, making it impassable. Officers and advisor can investigate, summon troops, but their chances of accomplishing much are slight. With miles of jungle into which they can vanish at will, the guerrillas responsible for the sabotage are as elusive as field mice. In the rice paddies and bamboo thickets of the Mekong, odds favor the guerrilla. Aware that attempts to intercept his retreat into the sheltering jungle will be almost impossible, the guerrilla adopts as his motto the adage that he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day. The guerrillas vanish, leaving only civilians protesting ignorance of the whole affair. With the guerrillas driven off or underground, it remains to repair the damage, a job which falls to civilians from the area recruited by the government's district chief. Here is a poignant example of the irony and the tragedy of Vietnam. For many of these same villagers have undoubtedly spent the long night under the menacing guns of guerrillas, digging the same holes they must now refill. Destroy its transportation, and you threaten the life of a nation. A modern nation, like the ancient Roman Empire, cannot long survive if her people and her commerce are denied roads and highways on which to travel. Much of the struggle in Vietnam has become a ceaseless effort by guerrillas to close the highways and by the government to keep them open.